Good morning, it is Danger Dan in the talk shop. And that was Thou Shalt Not Hassle by Extermination Day from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Thank you, Zach. Check out Heavy Clothing at Heavy Clothing on Instagram and heavy.bigcartel.com to check out all the badass shit Zach has got to offer. Because thou shalt not hassle. Dude, I got a show for you today. I did this one over the phone with a new friend named YusefWateef. My friend Charlie the Nomad introduced me to this cat. He lives in Sao Paulo, Brazil. And as you might have heard on last show, Flat Out Friday and Mama Tried are doing an event and a race in Sao Paulo. Dude, fucking stoked to go to Sao Paulo. But I got an email last night. They're like, fucking Brazil's numbers are going off the chart. They're in like, I don't know, they call it red. Shut down everything. So it looks like the race is going to get postponed till April. Either way, I'm fucking stoked about it. So I called up Yusef and wanted to talk about Sao Paulo. And he gave some heavy clues that this was a possibility. So I hope you enjoy our conversation. He runs an expat relocation services, which is like he helps people from America move to Sao Paulo, gets them set up with like Social Security and insurance, and just takes care of all the bullshit so that you can just straight up start fucking partying. Yusef, thanks for taking my phone call, man. I look forward to sharing a juice and a coffee with you in Sao Paulo in the future. Before we get to that, though, I got some dates. That's right. 2021. Shit is happening. Shit is happening this Sunday. North Texas Motorcycle Swap Meet at Hang'em High Customs, 7930 Newt Patterson Court. I've got a bunch of shit I need to get rid of. I hope to see you there. February 13th, Sao Paulo, Brazil, postponed. March 3rd through the 7th is the Mint 400 in Vegas. And let me tell you something. Me and Carlos went and test rode the new Ironhead this last weekend. Went to a place called Spokes outside of Austin. Rad little spot, man. Dude, they had this single track trail system that was like, dude, looked like some kid on fucking Adderall scribbled down the trail map on a piece of paper and somebody cut it out through this thick load of trees. It was pretty fucking bad, dude. And both bikes impressed the shit out of me. We broke some shit. You know, this is like, we're light years ahead of where I was last year. I hadn't even, we're, 2 months out from the race. Last year, I started building my bike like a month before the race. So, dude, I'm stoked, man. I'm really looking forward to Vegas and riding that bike, sharing some desert miles with my boys. It's going to be fucking rad. And actually, there is a race February, I think it's the same weekend as this. So, yeah, like February 12th, there's a race in Post, Texas, a desert hare scramble race. The hooligans will be coming out. I'm probably going to show up there if I don't go to Sao Paulo. Or maybe not. We'll see. But anyways, dude, the bikes are coming along. I've got my bike set up to go to California, so my buddy Cliff, who is now in your People's Champ competition, will be racing my bike at the Biltwell 100. Dude, fucking got to get Cliff on the payroll, dude. Biltwell, come on. You got him on the People's Champ. You got him racing the 100. I am stoked to see what Cliff does with this crazy fucking chopper. Him and the Nobodies are really going to fucking kill it. Pretty stoked to follow. So check those dudes out at California and at Nobodies. Some wild boys. You've heard them on the show. March 5th through the 14th is Daytona Bike Week. Get your shit out of the cold up north and bring it down to the beach. Right around southern Florida with some, Florida. You know about the Florida jokes. They're fucking real, dude. There's some bad motherfuckers and there's some crazy motherfuckers in South Florida. March 26th and 27th is the Texas Time Traveling Chopper Show in Green, Texas, presented by Matt Jackson Choppers. April 9th through the 11th is the one I'm after, though, is the Texas Fandango, Gillespie County Fairgrounds, Fredericksburg, Texas. Flat track racing, swap meet, AMCA Vintage Bike Show, AMCA Chopper Show. Still working on the logistics to get the outbound train to play. I'm telling you, we're playing. Whether it's like at the fucking campground fully acoustic around a fire or right next to a van or maybe on a stage. Who knows, man? Put the Texas Fandango on your calendar, April 9th through the 11th. Get you some of that hill country barbecue. Hill country riding, dude. That's the full Texas experience. After that, you got the El Diablo run, April 30th through May 3rd. San Felipe. Dude, don't miss out on a chance to go to Mexico with a bunch of fucking heathens. Follow Biltwell for more information on that. May 20th through the 23rd is the Tennessee Motorcycle Music Revival. That is in Hurricane Mills, Tennessee at Loretta Lynn's Ranch. That's right, Loretta Lynn's Ranch. Fuck, that's a cool one. June 26th and 27th, Born Free, location to be announced. If you didn't listen to the podcast I did with Grant recently, scroll back and listen to it. July 24th is Fuel Cleveland in Cleveland, Ohio, presented to you by lowbrowcustoms.com. Still waiting on dates for Run to Raton and Full Tilt Boogie. 2021, man, it's already shaping up. This show, like all shows on this podcast, is brought to you by MC Shop Tees, your T-shirt of the month club. The only way to support every local motorcycle shop. That's right. It's like a magazine subscription, except for you get a T-shirt every month. Every month, a new T-shirt featuring a different shop from around the country and now around the world, dude. We're going worldwide with this, finding fucking badass motorcycle shops everywhere. And if you got a badass shop in your hometown that's been around for a long time, hit me up, Dan at DangerDansTalkShop.com, and we'll see what we can't do to get them on the list of featured shops. Each shirt is a one-off custom T-shirt that you can only get through MC Shop Tees. We find a new artist every month to highlight these shops. This month's shop, T-shirts went out yesterday, and I could tell you, but I'm not going to. Go to your mailbox, man. Last month, we featured a shop called RP Motos out of Chihuahua, Mexico. Some bad dudes that guided me along with Kickstart Mike as we went down to the Copper Canyon. You know, I'm riding an old chopper. Shit fucking vibrated off, and they had it at their shop. They also, not only do they have parts for me, man, they, you know, it's like any place you travel to, it's nice to know a local. And I reached out, and these guys fucking guided me along. They kept me from getting killed, showed me some badass things, fed me some badass tacos. Go check those dudes out if you find yourself in Chihuahua, Mexico. RP Motos. Dude, we featured a bunch of badass shops last year. Bunch of badass T-shirts. I'm stoked to be, you know, dude, it's a cool thing. Go to mcshoptees.com and sign up. You can do it month to month. You can buy 3, 6, and 12-month packages, however you would like to do it. It's a badass thing. The first shop we ever featured was Brown Cycles, and they're starting their 51st year in business. That's fucking bad. Dallas, Texas, at Brown Cycles. Now, if you want to directly support the show, go to DangerDansTalkShop.com, and there is a menu tab where you can find a Patreon link. Go there and set up a Patreon account so that you can get entered to win a bunch of badass shit. That's right. We're going to give away what are we going to give away? We're going to give away fucking 3 T-shirts to MC Shop Tees today. At the end of the show, I will draw a name, and somebody will win 3 T-shirts. You need to get signed up so that you can be entered to win. Every month, we give away a $100 gift card to lowbrowcustoms.com. Lowbrowcustoms.com has got all your chopper parts. They recently sent me some tires for the chopper and the adventure bike. And, dude, those Bates Bajas are fucking bad to the bone. I was really bummed because the 18, it's for like a chopper, dude. It's for skinny tire choppers, which is badass, but I don't have one of those 18-inch skinny tire choppers. I got a fucking 18 on my adventure bike, and it's a big motherfucker. So maybe, maybe you got one of those skinny tire choppers, and you need an adventure tire. The Bates Baja is the one, and you can find that at lowbrowcustoms.com, and that shit ships quick. Working on another big giveaway for this year. I've got some ideas. I think that I'm going to reach out to my boy Chemical Randy, Chemical Customs. Are you familiar with Chemical Customs? If you like eye candy, you need to be following Chemical Candy Customs. He does amazing things for the internet. Amazing things for the internet. You can find him on the gram at Chemical Candy Customs or go to chemicalcandycustoms.com. I think he's one of the few guys that still keeps his blog up to date. I don't know how he finds the time to do all the shit that he does. It's pretty fucking amazing. I've got some Born Lost dice, safety third dice that my boy Don Shapiro down in, where's he at? Corpus Christi made. Dude, I got some valve covers. I'm gonna give away 3 T-shirts and some dice, thanks to Born Lost. Go to @BornLost if you want to get some safety third dice. Desert Condor in Utah. She's gonna make some fucking Danger Dan biker rings. Dude, those are gonna be fucking sick. In Tattoo Troubadour, Alan Wayne Nichols is working on a danger sign for your shop. So, dude, it's fucking sweet shit. We gave away a trip to Nepal last year. Now, as you see, the fucking Sao Paulo trip ain't working. Not sure when we're going to Nepal, but I will let everybody know if anybody else wants to sign up and go on that trip. MotorcycleSherpa.com. Thank you, Bear and Booty. Okay. I think those are, that covers all the fucking rad shit that's going on, all the rad shit that you can be a part of. And now it is time to jump into this phone conversation I had with YusefWateef. Yusef, thanks for joining me on this phone call today.
I'm glad to be here.
Where are you at right now?
Right now, I'm on the sofa in my living room in São Paulo, Brazil.
That is beautiful. How long have you lived in Sao Paulo?
5 years. I'm a permanent resident in Brazil. I'm a legal permanent resident in Brazil.
That is beautiful. So I recently did a podcast with our mutual friend, Charlie. And what a well-read, great storytelling motherfucker Charlie is.
Yeah. We met in college.
You okay?
Yeah, we met in college.
And where was that again?
New Mexico State University.
New Mexico
And I believe
State.
we probably met in the pool hall because I worked for the university as a pool hall attendant, and there were some guys that would play pool, and every now and then some cash would change hands. And I just got to know a bunch of the guys, and me, I have absolutely no skill nor talent in playing pool, but I did, however, and I'm guessing we're past the statute of limitations, I did have the keys to the pool hall, so that made me valuable to a certain class of individual.
Oh, that's funny. We
became friends.
Yeah, we talked about his pool hustling times after the podcast, off air. And that was just another thing I didn't know about Charlie.
Yeah, glad you didn't find out the hard way because I know a lot of kids.
Yeah, you probably witnessed that, huh? So what did you go to school for in New Mexico?
Management. I've got a bachelor's, associate's degree and a bachelor's degree, and my degree is in management.
Beautiful. Where did you grow up before that?
I was born in Niagara Falls, New York, where it's cold almost all the time.
Dude, and it's the complete opposite down there, isn't it?
Oh, listen, it didn't start here. I've lived in about 15 countries. And when I left home, it was 2 weeks after my 18th birthday when I went to college, and I told my family I love you. I told my mom and my dad, if you die, don't die in the winter because I'm not coming back. Niagara Falls, New York. I mean, for people who don't know, like, here's the thing. You're laughing. I'm dead serious. It can get to negative 15 degrees up there. I mean, it doesn't matter to your body once you're like past negative 4 or 5.
Yeah.
But the way that life is hard, like, where'd you grow up?
I grew up here in Texas.
See, life is harder it's hard one way where it's hot, but it's hard a different way where it's cold. When you're in a situation where you have to turn your car on maybe 45 minutes before you have to go someplace. And 15 minutes of that is seeing if you can get the key into the lock. If not, you got to get your de-icer. Then you got to make sure you got about 100 pounds of kitty litter or sand in the back to weigh down the back seat. And even then, I've seen 15, 25 car pileups where you'll drift. I mean, I've seen people drift a quarter mile, but the ice is so thick, there's literally nothing you can do but stop it, grit your teeth, and slam into the car in front of you.
Yeah. I've been in. I worked a winter in Wyoming, and we would literally warm up the machines with the giant weed burning torch. Carry around a propane tank with a torch and heat the metal up before we fired the machines up.
Mm-hmm.
It was fucking cold.
Could you hear the metal? Did you ever hear that when you heat something up? You hear the metal scream?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've gotten enough cold weather to know that I am just happy where I'm at. I was in New Mexico. I'm actually headed to New Mexico tomorrow, but 2 years ago, my batteries, I drove up there, the cold weather zapped the batteries in my diesel truck, and I had to I waited till it got to 0 degrees before I decided it was warm enough to change the batteries out in the truck. It was brutal. So what's the temperature down in Sao Paulo right now?
Let me look out my window. There's a tower with the temperature Sao Paulo on it. Right now, in the evening, and right here it is 8 p.m. It is roughly 71 degrees.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, and it was about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It was about 85.
And this is summer down there?
Yep, it's summer.
Yeah. Wow, I'm excited. I am excited. So before we talk more about Brazil, I want to hear about the other 15 countries that you've lived in and your work experience in those places.
No, let me think. Where was I before Brazil? 2 years in Shanghai, China.
Wow.
2 years Shanghai, China. I lived in a place called Brilliant City, which is the largest apartment complex in Shanghai, which I believe by default makes it the largest apartment complex in the world. It was so big that, let's say I was having a little get together at my house on a Saturday night.
Okay.
I would tell my friends exactly where to tell the taxi to go. And I tell them, you're going to see a supermarket on the corner. You'll see the guard booth on the corner. Tell the taxi driver to drive you in because you got to go around the corner, blah, blah, blah. I would invariably get a text message from somebody saying, hey, I'm down the street and I'm at that supermarket grocery store you told me about, and I'm at the guard booth, but I don't see your building number. And I'd say, well, read me the corner you're at. And they could be 15 blocks away and still in my housing complex. And they would tell the taxi all the time, oh, let me get out here. Just let me get out here. I see where I am. I see the grocery store. They don't understand that one chain of grocery stores might have 17 locations inside my housing complex.
Oh, my gosh. That is insane.
Yeah, Brilliant City was huge. And if you didn't follow instructions, you get out of your taxi 15 blocks away and be mad because you got to walk it now or call another taxi.
What kind of work were you doing there?
Wall Street English that needed somebody. One of the companies that I built up for myself was an executive English company. I work with politicians, businessmen, people doing TED Talks who need clear instruction at university level English. They can't sound the way the guy on television sounds or the way the cool guy sounds. They need to speak at university level English for business reasons, and that's why they hire me.
Okay. That's interesting.
So I put together a staff to do that. Yeah, I've taken that business international. I do that here in Brazil. I have a great staff that works under me here. One of my businesses here.
Well, I didn't even know that was do you have a lot of competition in that field?
I am a niche. That means, are there a lot of people who teach English and teach English quite well? Yes. Are there a lot of people that can show a clear history of doing public speaking and recruit those kind of clients? No, not really.
Yeah.
It's going to be very rare to find somebody who you can look at and say, this guy does public speaking and also coaches in it.
Wow.
I've done public speaking since I was 8 years old.
Who were you talking to at 8 in public?
Well, I was born with a speech impediment. I have a lisp.
Okay.
And a pretty bad one when I was a child. My grandmother, who was 65 when I was born, I had the privilege of being in her life after she'd retired. So she ended up coaching me. And I can't tell you how many days I would have to stand in front of her as she sat in her chair in front of the big picture window in the front dining room. And she would have me read chapters to her, correcting my pronunciation every single time, memorizing poems that I would have to recite to her, state names, country names, read this book to me. My father would give me books well above my pay grade, but those things set me up for success later. My parents had a agreement she told me about. She said that they agreed that as long as I was reading, they would never censor what I would read. What they didn't know is that as a very small child, I was reading their books. I would just put them back in the bookshelf. So when they figured out that I was reading The Omen at like 9. So either I had the best parents in the world or you know, because they were devout drinkers. My parents were serious alcoholics, and so I'd like to believe they made that decision while they were sober, though.
Wow, that's interesting. So, yeah, what you were explaining to me the other day is your company or one of your companies. It sounds like you've got multiple companies. But yeah, you take a business who doesn't operate in English, and you figure out a way for them to present their information in English on the internet or through emails so that they can reach out to the English market.
Right. For example, let's say you're a Brazilian company that has to do a contract in English, or you have to present your contract in English to the legal team in New York branch of your business. Well, they hire me to have my team of bilingual Brazilians. I have bilingual and trilingual staff. They go through the whole document, translate it for context, and we charge per word for that.
Wow. Okay. Have you ever worked in Mexico?
No, I would go down to Juarez, Mexico. Now, keep in mind, this is before you could get kidnapped for having a buy one, get one free coupon in your pocket. Yeah. I used to go down to Juarez. You know, I'd take my mom and my aunt down there. We'd buy serapes and eat burritos and lunch and go to these really fine dining restaurants. And I don't know why the best Mexican food in the world never made it to America, because most Americans don't know Mexican food is amazing.
Oh,
but the good food never made it up north.
Maybe not that far. There's some good Mexican food in Texas. Now, it definitely changes once you cross the border. We have definitely put our own spin on it, but it's there. It's here.
Yeah. I mean, what do you know about eating your burrito with the jalapeno pepper in the other hand, where you take a bite of the burrito and then you bite your pepper?
Yeah. No, I'm very familiar with that.
Yeah.
We grow peppers here on the farm, and that's, you know, it's just easier to do it that way. You know, the Mexicans I used to work with, what blew my mind is they would just eat like the skin. They would never eat the meat or the seeds, which I didn't get. I like the whole damn thing.
Yeah.
But so you were in Shanghai. Where else have you been?
Before that, I think I spent a little bit of time in America, but before that, oh, let me see. I would have to look at my own resume. I think I was in Bangkok, Thailand for a couple years.
Thailand.
Right. Bangkok, Thailand. Yep.
And all these places you were doing something along the same lines as helping businesses?
No. In Bangkok, I did a couple of things. I did some of the English stuff, but I also did a little bit of work with. I did not work for the U.S. Embassy, but I did some cultural liaison stuff between the community and the American Embassy.
Wow. So you being in Sao Paulo, I mean, with this experience you have, I feel like you are the perfect person to ask questions to as somebody from America who has never been to Brazil, is not familiar with the culture, and is going to be there for a few days and wants to take complete advantage of the situation and learn as much as I possibly can while I'm there. It's funny how you just like fell into my lap thanks to good old Charlie.
Yay.
So you've been in Sao Paulo for what, 5 years, you said?
Yeah.
5 years. And
yeah.
And I guess, did you start a business down there or did you move a business down there? How did that work?
I moved that business down here, and the editing business I started here. And while I was here, after a certain number of years, you become someone that your friends call, hey, I'm coming to Brazil. What can you tell me? But then it becomes, well, what do I need for my passport? How do I get my social security number if I'm going to stay there for a while? So then I developed an expat relocation services business. And so what my company does is, let's say you decide, I'm coming to Brazil and it's going to be more than a 2-week holiday. Maybe it's a month, maybe it's 6 months, maybe it's a year. My team of bilingual and trilingual Brazilians does everything from meet you when you get off the airplane, take you to get your phone done in Brazil, take you to get your Brazilian social security number, take you to get your medical card, take you to figure out, okay, make sure tell you the truth, we fill out a lot of the visa stuff for you, show you what it is. Then you have to sign it and go to the visa departments. And the advantage of having lived here is, for example, we go to the federal police for visa stamps. Well, I know which police stations to go to and which ones not to. I know which ones are crowded and which ones aren't. I know which ones say they're going to open on time and which ones don't. Little things like that, because what clients are purchasing from me, and I tend to have clients that are other businessmen, they're purchasing time.
Yeah.
Are these things you could learn to do if you spoke Portuguese and understood the system? Sure. However, if you don't, do you want to spend that week and a half navigating the system? And oh, by the way, if you fill out something wrong, go back to the beginning.
Yeah. So how fluent are you in Portuguese right now?
Lower intermediate, let's say.
Okay.
We'll call it lower intermediate because my biggest problem is that so much of my business is in English. So my friends have the luxury of, when they got here, they completely sank into speaking Portuguese every day. You know, their wife, their mother-in-law, the guy that cooks their hamburger, they're all speaking Portuguese. Whereas with me, for example, with you, what am I doing? Speaking English.
Yeah. And that hasn't been much of a hiccup, apparently. I mean, 5 years. I know 2 words right now: sim and obrigado.
You know exactly 1 word in Portuguese right now.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah. Because the second word, I don't even know what that was supposed to be.
I was trying to say yes and thank you.
Obrigado.
Right. Oh, I think I said Obregon, which is the place I went to in Mexico.
Yeah, I was like that. Yeah, you got me on that one.
Well, I'm learning. So, you know, I won't be down there for 2 weeks. I'm going down there for 5 days or so. There's nothing like that I don't need to worry about getting a social security card or anything like that.
No, you're not.
What about like driving? Like if I wanted to rent a motorcycle, is there an international driver's license that I need to get? Or is there...
I would have to actually look at that because São Paulo, Brazil is probably the 11th largest city in the world, I think.
Last I looked it up, it was 4th.
4th?
Yeah.
Or am I looking at... Okay, Sao Paulo size ranking.
There's 20 million people in this city.
Yeah, yeah. Like Sao Paulo it's just enormous.
If you were
But
going to compare it to an American city, is there any American city that you could compare it to?
I think it's 3 times bigger than New York City.
Wow.
It's a megapolis.
A megapolis.
But as
So,
far as the motorcycle thing, I would say this. If you want to drive a motorcycle to say you drove a motorcycle in Brazil, I can help look into that for you. However, nobody with any means at all actually drives anywhere. Uber is, with the exchange rate, if you're making money in the American economy and spending it here, Uber is almost free.
yeah. That sounds amazing.
And you don't have to worry about parking, somebody hitting. Because here's the thing, I can safely say you probably don't know how to drive a motorcycle in Sao Paulo because the things that you and I would consider enough to get you arrested or killed is just normal down here.
Yeah, I rode in Kathmandu last year and experienced a little bit of what I imagine is going to be like in riding a motorcycle in Sao Paulo. It's more like you just kind of go with the flow. You take advantage of every piece of space possible.
Yeah.
You know, you act a little bit
You
tougher
do.
than you seem to be on a motorcycle. You know.
And here's the problem 99.9% of the time it works out right. But the one time you're wrong,
Well, that goes at always riding a motorcycle.
when you get here, when you take that Uber ride from the airplane to your hotel,
Yeah.
just look around. Just look around at the motorcycle, see how they behave, and decide if you want to get into that game.
Oh, I do. I mean, I already got a motor. I'm just not sure which size I'm going to get. And I may get one size for 2 days and another size for another 2 days. What I'm worried about is like,
I would say
go ahead.
I would say hostile, mobile, and agile.
Hostile,
You want something.
mobile, and agile. Yeah.
That's the kind of bike you want to get down here. You want something that's going to get you in and out of danger fast. You want to be able to, cut that corner on a dime.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Which I recently rode a BMW in California, and it's a big bike, a 1250, but dude, I feel really comfortable on it. And I was thinking I would get a smaller bike, but they go from big to really small. And, I guess I'm more worried about when I go to the beach, is there going to be a safe place to park the motorcycle it's not going to get stolen?
Doubt it. I wouldn't even take a motorcycle to the beach because even if there was a safe place, I don't know if they have a place to put a motorcycle.
Okay, so there's that. There's not parking really.
Yeah.
Wow. No wonder the guy on the phone that I was talking to, or through text, through WhatsApp, about the motorcycle thing. He wasn't real sure about me, which that's to be expected.
Well, that's what if you haven't been here, he understands. You might not know what you're asking for.
Yeah, no, he probably. That's exactly what he's thinking. You're fucking crazy. You don't know what you're doing. Yeah, and it may be, luckily the hotel I'm going to be at has like indoor cover or, like indoor parking.
Right.
So I can leave the bike there. I just want to have a motorcycle while I'm there to ride out of town. The race is going to be in a place called, let's see, I pulled this up. Geranu. Is that how you say that?
And that's in the city?
No.
Because remember, Sao Paulo is a state as well.
Okay, it's in the state. It's Geranu. Jarinu. SP Race Park. It is north of Sao Paulo. Jundiaí. You familiar with Jundiaí?
Okay, yeah.
It's just northeast of Jundiaí.
Yeah, gotcha.
So that's what I was thinking. I could have a big bike to ride up there, do some exploring on Friday. You think I'm crazy, right?
Well, here's the thing. I don't think you know what you're asking for to drive outside of the event. It's not a matter of crazy or sane. Like if you told me, hey, you've been here and you understand what's going on, that's one thing. But if you haven't been here,
I haven't. And this is the weekend of Carnival. What's Sao Paulo like during that event? I
oh
mean,
jeez. Well, here's the other thing. Carnival, this is all wrong, man.
okay.
This is all wrong. Carnival should have been well, Carnival was canceled because Carnival is normally going to be starting, you know, late January, early February. Wait, when are you coming?
I'll be there February 12th.
There won't be any Carnival for you here.
Really? Because I mean, and I'm just going off what I looked up. It says Brazilian Carnival 2021 date is February 12th through February 17th for
What are you looking at?
2021. Wikipedia.
You can totally trust Wikipedia. No, you can't.
No, I mean, I know, like I'm saying, this is just the information I've seen. It's with a grain
So
of
do
salt.
this. Google Brazil Carnival 2021 canceled.
Brazil Carnival.
2021 canceled.
So it's just canceled. I mean, it does say Friday 12th, February 12th. Ends on February 17th.
When you put canceled, what came up?
Post. I didn't put cancel. I wasn't going to start off with the bad juju. Are you telling me that it's just not going to happen at all this year?
I'm telling you that they're going to do a small carnival. They want to do one in June and July. But as far as the normal carnival that we're supposed to be having right now, or rather in a couple of months, that's no. No, I can tell you, I can prove to you why it's canceled. There's an event here that I love to go to. It's multiple events done by multiple samba schools.
Okay.
Now, when we hear the term samba school, we like to think of a school where you go to learn how to dance. Don't. Think of them like fraternities of schools and their colors and dancers, and the dancers are one part of it. When you say dancer, there may be 5 or 6 different positions for dancers, countless positions for musicians, and their families have been doing this forever. They have something called a technical ensayo. A technical ensayo is a technical practice where they'll be going over the songs and dances they're going to do, and the public can come in to their samba school and watch.
Okay.
These samba schools are the size of aircraft hangars, a lot of them.
Wow.
Now, sometimes you might charge $5 to come in and you get a plate of food while they're raising money for next year, for the costumes and stuff. But I would go to one of those every Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday for the 12 weeks before Carnival, because every school has their own.
Right. Yeah, I was looking at the big parade in Sao Paulo.
So you got to remember, before that parade happens, there's 12 weeks of practice.
Gotcha. So they're not practicing, is what you're saying?
No, they're not.
Gotcha.
In the samba school community is having a real issue because Carnival represents a significant amount of revenue for this country. People from all over the world come and spend millions. Like if you're coming, let's say you're coming and you are just this dude with bags of money, which a lot of them are from all over the world.
Yep.
You'll come rent, these high-end hotel rooms. You'll rent your own private pavilion in one of the places in the Samba Stadium to watch the event, where it comes with all your food and drinks included, and people are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on that. And that's not counting the regular people who are coming and just spending thousands of dollars on everything from drink, food, t-shirts. I mean, there are companies that say, let's say you run a mom and pop t-shirt company, you might make 90% of your revenue the month of Carnival.
Yep.
You'll spend 6 months, printing up Carnival shirts and have your street team out there selling those shirts for 100 times what it cost you to foreigners who are coming in, and you want to take that shirt home.
Wow. So,
there are guys that we call, go ahead.
I guess what is how is Sao Paulo treating this, I can't even think, the coronavirus pandemic? Like, what's the temperature down there?
Well, with the pandemic, Sao Paulo doesn't want to be the next America. Now, don't get me wrong. They've had a couple of bad starts. But what they've done, for example, we just had Christmas and New Year's.
Yep.
They don't do quarantine, meaning you can't leave your house. What the country did here, and the state of São Paulo does here, is the day before, during, and the day before Christmas and New Year's, everything is closed. So you can leave your house, but you're not going anywhere unless it's a restaurant who is delivering food or carry out, or a medical place like a hospital or a pharmacy. And the pharmacies and the grocery stores will have somebody outside and they monitor how many people can go in and out. So for instance, let's say it's a 12-lane shopping place, they will have maybe 24 people in at once, and those two people have to be like a half shopping lane apart.
Gotcha. And this is being practiced by everyone. See, because there's a lot of stuff like that, a lot of talk of that up here, but, it's not exactly happening when you go to the stores. Everybody's finding ways around to work to make things happen.
I was walking to they have these places called padarias. The closest thing I can explain it to you is kind of like a bakery deli, but it's not. It's a little different.
Okay.
I took my phone out while I was walking down the street, and I was talking to somebody with the phone on one ear and my mask was hanging off the other ear. So as I hung up the phone to walk past the little turnstile to walk into the padaria, I thought this bunch of waitresses was going to beat the hell out of me. Yeah. They were like, get your mask on. I was like, whoa, I had to take like 2 steps back, get my mask behind my ear. Then I was allowed to walk in.
And is that pretty consistent with all the places, all the restaurants down there?
Restaurants, yes. Places, now you're always going to have somebody's bar or restaurant trying to get clever, and flaunt the rules.
Yeah.
Some of them get away with it, but the police will roll up on you. There's a little place across the street from where I live. I live in a pretty simple neighborhood, but they have barbecue there. Brazilian barbecue, meaning everything's roasted over a fire.
Yeah. Okay.
So the law said they can have their barbecue if everything they serve was takeout. Cool. You had a couple of guys that took their food out of the barbecue bag in front of the restaurant and were kind of standing there talking. Police car pulled right over, and the cop, she put her hands up like, dude, don't do this. Don't make me be this person. Don't make me be this person. And they're like, we're just standing on the road. She was like, nope, take it home.
Wow.
So you can be standing on the street, but now if you're eating and standing on the street, or you're drinking something and standing on the street, now you got a problem.
And the cops are enforcing this.
Dude, people snitch you out in a heartbeat. I know people that have snitched out their neighbors because their neighbors thought they would get cute and have a little private get-together in their own backyard. And somebody in the neighborhood will drop dime on them in a minute.
That's wild, really. So what you're saying is now is probably not the best time to travel and experience Sao Paulo.
Well, here's the problem. You can travel and experience Sao Paulo. The problem is this. The Sao Paulo, like if you've been on my website or if you've looked at my YouTube videos, the Sao Paulo that I get to live in isn't the Sao Paulo that's here right now. The Sao Paulo that I live in means we could get up and go get a light Brazilian breakfast of some bread with cheese on it and some coffee and some orange juice, and then go to a museum that might have an exhibit by an American sculptor who's doing a free exhibition in Sao Paulo, then go to lunch at a Japanese restaurant by a Japanese chef, and then after lunch, go check out a comic book exhibition they have at the Museum and Institute of Light and Sound. These are things I've really done. And then after that, we might go hang out and have dinner outside at a little patio restaurant where they serve nothing but, you just order 5 plates of hors d'oeuvres, and eat those and sit around outside and laugh with your friends.
Yeah, that sounds
amazing.
Then
after that, late night, we might go listen to a jazz musician who's, sitting in with a Brazilian band who was born, in Cuba. That's Sao Paulo, Brazil. That's the Sao Paulo that I got to come to. Now, even though the government is opening businesses back up again, I'll give you an example. I got a buddy of mine runs a business out here. Let's say you've got 12 employees. He had to explain this to me. You got 12 employees, right? And this is before the quarantine hit where they closed everybody's business. So you got 12 employees, and they all live in Sao Paulo, Brazil, which is the equivalent of living in big city. It's the expensive restaurants and the expensive rent as well, right?
Yep.
So now your staff doesn't have a job. So let's say they leave the big city and they go live with the granddad on the farm. Because living on the farm with granddad, you can pay the rent by chopping wood. So they're not making any money, but they're going to go live with grandma and granddad, help out the farm, or just go live with your cousins, in a different city where the cost of living is dirt cheap. Except now you got another problem. Let's say the government comes back and says, cool, you guys can open your restaurant again, but you can only open it for a few hours a day, right? Until everything is cured and everything is, because that's what they did to the restaurants. You could only open a little while at a time.
Yeah, they can't.
What do you do?
They can't survive that way. Like, there's not even any point in the opening.
Exactly, but here's the other problem. Let's say you call your staff, you call your best waiter, your best bartender, you call them back and say, hey guys, we're back in business. And they say, well, okay, how many hours a week can I work? Can they afford to come back to Sao Paulo, Brazil and only work 20 hours a week?
No.
So how does your business get back going again?
It doesn't.
Exactly. So now that's your business dead in the water.
Yeah.
And by the way, even if the government, it's just like America in some ways, let's just say they did give you a hiatus on your rent. And they said, well, listen, we're not going to make anybody pay, the light bill. It doesn't go away. And that's a private thing. What happens with your restaurant when they say, okay, maybe for your home, we can give you a break. But for your restaurant, you're paying for that per square foot, right? So that bill is still coming due. Even though you can't pay it, landlords get a bad rap, but they got bills too.
Wow. So even if it does clear up, or like, what warning, my buddy was trying to explain to me that you guys have, like, he was trying to explain like a tornado warning system where, like, depending on how bad the numbers are, how full the hospitals are, you're in a state of yellow or a state of red.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. When they start seeing things in a certain area get weird, you'll just get a notification on the news and they'll just be like, nope, starting tomorrow, you can all just stay the fuck home.
Wow.
But how do you run a business that way?
You can't run a business that way.
So now let's just say you got your business and now your staff says, well, I got a guy right now who's a business owner and I know he and his staff. So I have to be very careful about, I don't talk about this to anybody in that company because it's all confidential, but it's like you're the boss and they're the staff and your staff says, we're not coming back in. So what does the boss do? Well, you're not getting paid.
Yep.
Right? But now you got a situation where your staff has a legitimate beef. Can you see how many lawsuits are going to come through how many different unions over this? They got unions here too.
Yeah. So
what do you do?
Everybody's just complying with these mandates of not being able to open their business, or are there people, just staying open regardless and trying to make things work, whether they're technically...
Nah. I mean, here's the thing. There are certain rules and laws in every country that you can just kind of flaunt. But right now, the government is not fucking around with this. They're just not, because they don't want... Like, we understand how bad this can be. And as much as I hate to say it, America's number one in death and every other bad metric. Every country in the world, and I have connections
but
with
it's
all the
because
countries I've lived in.
America is like the most unhealthy country in the world.
I would say it's because, and I say this as an American, we really are selfish. Like, we truly don't give a fuck about anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Americans are not in the business of saying, even though I don't think this mask will help me, maybe, my Uncle Jeb's grandmother, who's 90, maybe she needs me to wear this mask. We live in one of the only country I can think of where you would have people staging full-scale riots, running into Walmart and saying, I'm not wearing a mask, and trying to just create havoc. People in other countries don't even understand why it's a political issue in certain places. It's a little bit of a political issue here, but at the same time, they're like, you people take that shit too far.
I don't think it's too far. I'm at the point now where the fact that they're telling us what not to do instead of telling people what they can do to be healthy. The comorbidities that are attached to all the COVID deaths are just signs of people not being healthy. You know, I think the greenest thing
I
we
agree.
could do right now is like
And
let
old,
some
and
fucking
old.
people die, and then that way their death, instead of just blaming it on COVID, we can look at their lifestyle habits, their dietary habits, and maybe people close to them can learn to be a healthier person. But now, since you can
And here's
just
the
blame
thing.
it on COVID, the death really means
I
nothing.
agree. I agree with you that their comorbidity has absolutely something to do with it, right?
Yeah.
But how cold-hearted is to say fuck them because they're fat and they smoke? Like I
It's
used
not
to be a
saying
fat
that.
kid.
It's not saying that.
That's exactly what you just said. Let them die. You said the words "let them die."
Their death
If
could
I'm not
have
wrong,
more meaning.
okay, right? But here's the problem. You just said the words "let them die." If I'm not mistaken, now we can go back in the recording and you can tell me.
I might
You
have
the
said
words,
that. Maybe that's how
I
worked
might.
up I am now. I
But
might.
that's the thing. You did say that. You said "let them die," and think about how hard that is to say when, even if we're comfortable with dying as a result of some of our bad decisions, people deserve a chance to bounce back, and they shouldn't have to die over something preventable with a little bit of help from a neighbor. It shouldn't be a death sentence because the people in your community feel like wearing a mask is too much of an inconvenience, and we're also placing a value judgment on the lives of fat people. And again, if anybody looks at me on Instagram, I'm a 230-pound power lifter. I love lifting weights. I'm a big, strong ox of a man. I grew up a fat kid. I understand what that shit is like.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't look at people who haven't made the transition yet as deserving to die.
Yeah, I don't think anybody deserves to die. But
you just said let them die.
That doesn't mean that they deserve it. I'm just saying that we could learn more from this situation.
What you just said is a difference without a distinction. You just said, I said let them die, but I don't mean they should have that. You just made a difference with no distinction. The words let them die mean exactly what you said.
Deserve to die and let them die?
You're making what's called a difference without a distinction. You just said those words, let them die.
Yeah.
With conviction. Like, that's, and here's the thing, even if they were going to die, I'm okay with saying if I go that extra mile of wearing a mask so that some poor fat guy who hasn't made the transition to picking up a weight and putting down the junk food, so he's got a couple more years to maybe make that decision, it's not that big of a deal. It's not like you're asking me to give you a kidney. We can argue it if you're asking me to give a kidney to a man who alcoholed himself to death. We can argue whether or not that guy deserves to die, but it's a mask. But that let them die attitude is a very American thing.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was talking about in the beginning. That's a very American feeling, that let them die.
I know it is terrible. Yeah, I miss seeing people's faces, and
yeah. Well, here's the thing.
I wish
you're
I
talking
could
about let them die because we're inconvenienced. We're inconvenienced. We're not even hurt. We're inconvenienced by wearing masks.
Yeah.
Do you understand that we wouldn't even have to go through so many of these things if we just worn masks in the beginning? Well, in the beginning, we just said, you know what, maybe we don't want to fuck this up for later. But that's not how Americans think.
Well, I mean, I look at us as like, I tried to make this comparison the other day. It may not be the best, but like a forest. Like we're all trees. We've been fighting forest fires and like stopping these forests from burning over the years, and they've collected all this, dead wood that hasn't been burned off. It's just a bunch of fuel, and then these fires end up raging, and we can't put them out. And like we're propping up a bunch of people that aren't as healthy as they may seem because they're on medicines that are keeping them alive. They're on shitty food that's keeping them alive, and it's more dangerous. It's more dangerous to have that population of unhealthy people around. Period. Like if we could.
Let me tell you something. If the day ever comes, if you are representative of your average friends, and the day ever comes when you fall victim to a disease that has you hooked up to a tube and on medication, I'm going to probably have to stand at the foot of your bed with a bat, keeping your friends away from making the same decisions for you that you're trying to make for other people that have the misfortune of being unhealthy.
Yeah.
Because that's some cold shit, man. I agree. Some people made bad decisions, but the thing that makes people awesome is we're not like the other animals. We actually can look at someone and say, just because you didn't do good at hunting today, just because you made a bad decision today, doesn't mean the other monkeys are going to go kill you now. It doesn't mean they deserve to die. It means, here's the crazy thing about it. It means, what if we had an American healthcare system? Stay with me on this.
Okay.
What if we had a healthcare system and an American regimen that encouraged healthy eating instead of doing things that are called attractive? Do you know what an attractive nuisance is?
No.
Okay, my house in Las Vegas, Nevada, I had a giant swimming pool and a hot tub. Now, the law said if you've got a swimming pool and a hot tub, you have to have a fence around it so that children don't get in and drown. Now, my theory is, why would somebody's kid come in and drown? Well, they're children, and so they're attracted to things that are bad for them. Makes perfect sense. You know what else is considered an attractive nuisance? Happy Meals. People have long said that it should be against the law to put toys in junk food. Yet that's what we do that leads people on that path. Now, I'm not saying there isn't an age in every man's life where you got to make decisions by yourself. But fuck, some of us had it bad from the word go, especially if you were poor. So when you see these people, you got to also say, well, why are they fat and unhealthy? As a young man, I thought, well, fat, unhealthy people just like to eat food. But a lot of these people are in pain. A lot of these people need health care mentally. A lot of these people need to find out why is it we live in a capitalistic system that benefits guys like me who have an education and understand how to invest. I've done everything from cryptocurrencies to mutual funds. I'll be fine. But I understood after working for 10 years as a financial professional doing mutual funds and insurance, I understand very, very clearly it's a nasty world out there, and I took advantage of those things. It's not fair to the people who just wanted to lead a decent life and have a regular life, that they should just be relegated to, well, fuck them, they just die.
I mean,
if you weren't smart enough to be born healthy and educated and into a family that could teach you how to read, and instead you made bad life decisions, well, now you're just that forest that needs to get burned off. That's some cold shit, man.
It is some cold shit. Yeah, it is. I think it would be it. We could change that. Like I totally agree. Like putting a toy in a Happy Meal, like maybe that should be illegal. I don't know. I don't know why. I mean, that is a terrible thing.
It's capitalism. It just makes a lot of money, so we do it. I'll even go a step farther. I had the privilege of being a financial professional for a decade.
Yeah.
I understand how money works in a way that most people never will. Get this. Do you have any kids? Because I don't have any kids.
Yes, I've got 2 kids, 5 and a 7-year-old.
Most people don't know just how lucky they are to be born with a child that doesn't have an issue. See, when you work in the insurance business, you find out there's a significant number of people in the population. It seems like a small percentage until you realize just how many millions of people we have in this world. Children that are born sick. Children will be born never going to be healthy, but maybe we can make their life a little bit better.
Yeah.
When you see those things, that's when you learn to grow compassion.
So, I mean, surely capitalism is what's happening down there in Sao Paulo. What is different down there than what that drives it as opposed to the way we live here in America?
I'll tell you the only big, major, significant difference that I could find. Healthcare.
Okay.
Brazil has one of the best healthcare systems in the world. Most people don't know it. Most people don't know that. Most people don't know that the American healthcare system is one of the most barbaric, savage, nasty animals in the history of the world. Most people don't know that in most countries, you don't have to pay for medicine.
At all. Oh.
That's the thing.
Hold on, did
you know that
you muted it, right? You said most countries you don't have to pay for medicine, and then you cut out.
Yeah, and again, I say this having lived this, right?
Yeah.
In most countries, you might have to pay more money for a nice phone or a nice watch or a nice car. They might overcharge you for all that shit. But the concept of medicine for profit is seen as a human tragedy. Medicine is considered a human right in countries. In America, we don't know that. Do you know part of my expat relocation services business is I have clients from the United States who come here not for a holiday, but because that surgery that they need that they would never be able to afford in America, they can actually afford here.
Oh,
Because the doctors are just as qualified, except it's just a business thing where the doctors here make a lot of money too, but they don't have millions of times tacked onto it.
Yeah. No, that I believe that 100%. I mean, people travel outside of America to have cheaper things done all the time. Now, is it something you pay in through taxes? Like, how is it paid for?
Yeah, through taxes. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you mentioned earlier that you're in the city Sao Paulo, and there's a state of Sao Paulo. Is it like
right? It's like New York.
Okay, so is there is that healthcare system throughout all of Brazil, or is it the state of Sao Paulo? How does that work?
No, it's Brazil's healthcare system.
It's the whole. Yeah. Okay. So do you guys have a president down there? Is it set up just like America, where there's a president?
Oh man, okay, they have a president here, but their entire system of elections is just as convoluted and crazy as ours. I'm not even going to pretend that I'm up on that just yet.
Okay.
I'm not qualified to explain it to you. I'm going to be very clear. I'm not qualified to explain their system to you because it is, yeah.
So is there
politicians the world over are generally batshit crazy and untrustworthy.
Yeah, so that's consistent down there. Is there two parties
That's
down
a
there?
fairly. Oh no, they have they have dozens of parties. America is a duopoly, meaning most people don't realize that America, you don't really got that many choices. You get the left wing and the right wing, but it's the same bird.
Yeah.
Here, I mean, in other countries, people start parties that are just, man, you could start a gravy train if you wanted to, and if you got enough votes, you'd be in Senate.
Oh wow. So has COVID been politicized as much down there as it has up here?
Oh yeah, because there's a war of words between the current president, who is this ultra conservative who's made enemies everywhere, and Doria, who I believe is the mayor of São Paulo City. And this is one of those cities where if you can be anything in this government here, you're on your way to making it into big government. But they're having a war because in 2 years, when that election comes, who handled what and on what side you were on with COVID is going to mean a lot. When people start pulling those records up, depending on how this shakes out.
Yeah.
So
right
now here's the thing. Do I trust either one of them? Absolutely not.
Yeah. So the current president is quite conservative. And then what would you say, the mayor of Sao Paulo? Is that what you call him?
I believe he's the mayor, Doria. I have to find out his exact position. Because getting into their whole political game, that's another bag of squirrels that, yeah.
It's that different. I would think 5 years with your education that you'd be invested into that to some degree.
Well, here's the thing. I'm invested more into how business is done. How do I take advantage of what tax situation I'm in? That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Who the president is, it's kind of like who the president is in America. It's important, but depending on where you are on the spectrum, it's not as important as you might think.
No, I mean, the local officials are way more important.
Right. I care more about the officials who decide what's legal and illegal for hiring employees, in my city. I'm more concerned with whether or not, what benefits I'm mandated to give my employees here in my city. That shit concerns me.
Yeah.
What they do in the Capitol, it'll trickle down to me, but also I'm not eligible to vote until I get my passport, which I should have had a passport and full citizenship, but COVID, just screwed everything for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you're working on becoming a full legal resident down there?
No, I'm already a permanent resident. I can come and go as I please. I can invest in the stock market, but I just want to have a second passport.
Gotcha. So you can have a dual citizenship with the United States and Brazil. That works both ways.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, I just assumed that you couldn't have a dual citizenship. I don't know why. Maybe that's because I can't have a dual citizenship in Texas and New Mexico.
Wait, what? Those are two states in the same country.
I know, but I can't have a dual citizenship or a dual residency.
Oh, dual residency in two states for tax reasons. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, I mean,
You gotta choose one.
I was trying to do it for hunting reasons, but I guess it's not possible.
Nah.
So how often do you come
Nah.
back to the States?
I haven't been back to the United States in a while. Went to visit my mom, and we had a very see. My dad is dead, and I'm an only child. And my parents got divorced, and my dad moved around the corner, so they were still friends. And you can interpret the word "friends" with however you want for quite a number of years.
Yeah.
But it was the whole thing is I was born in Niagara Falls, New York, and most people's idea of Niagara Falls is something that's really antiquated, like the Superman movie that was filmed there. Niagara Falls is a real dead end city. There's no opportunity there. There's no education there. There is no business there. Niagara Falls is a place that has had nothing good going for it for 20 years. Everyone that I know that's in Niagara Falls isn't there because they want to be. Everyone who got any form of education and was able to leave left. It's a situation where whenever you have a city like that, they go through what's called a brain drain, which I talk about on my channel quite a bit about how it happens into a country. Brain drain happens when, let's say you have all the kids in high school. That top 10% of kids can go anywhere in the world and go to college, right? So they're leaving.
Yep.
Now that bottom 20%, they're still smarter than the average kid. They can go to any university in America. But when you do that, who's left to run the city? Who's going to become your local sheriff? Who's going to become your local mayor? Those kids that were the C and D level kids.
Yeah.
And it just creates a downward spiral because you never want to go back. Like if you're the mayor of New York City or you're the mayor of São Paulo, Brazil, you're the nastiest rat in the shit house. You might not be a good person, but you're not stupid. Stupid people don't make it that far.
Yeah.
You can't get there unless you are. That's like saying, if you make it. I got friends who are wrestlers. I trained in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I got some friends that are all-state wrestlers. The guy who makes All-American in Texas is on a whole different page from the guy who makes All-American in New Haven, Connecticut.
Yeah.
When you say you won your state championship in Texas, California, you're a real monster. So it's the same way with these cities. Niagara Falls hasn't had any real opportunity. There's a documentary about 5 minutes long on Vimeo called The Fall of Niagara Falls and the Decline of Niagara Falls, done by two students who were forced to apologize for it because it was just casting Niagara Falls in a light that
it's so bad somebody made a documentary about how bad it is.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, man, Niagara Falls, New York, I know a girl who's still in college, and she said Niagara Falls, New York has actually been cited in her textbooks as how not to run a city. If you look up decline of Niagara Falls, if you just Google that phrase, you'll find some depressing shit, man.
Holy shit.
Niagara Falls is just not a place you want to be from.
No,
my mom's old and retired. Go ahead.
I was gonna say back to the people like you're a bad motherfucker if you're
all state champion in anything in Texas.
Yeah.
Versus Connecticut.
What I was gonna say, it kind of reminded me like the politicians. Like to be what you were saying about the politicians. To be a politician, like nobody wants to go through all the shit it takes to be at the top, to do it for the good of the people. It's only because they're being paid by big companies normally is why they're going to take all the shit that it takes, to be a politician, to be the president, it's just not, that's the biggest problem is anybody that would be really good at the job is not going to touch it with a fucking 100-foot pole. It's a problem.
And that's the other problem. The other problem is the people who are smart enough to be politicians are also smart enough to make a hell of a lot more money with a lot less bullshit in their life.
Yeah.
In other places.
Have you thought about
That's
going
the other
into politics?
Problem. I've written some things for politicians, but I know politicians well enough to know I would never, ever want to make the sacrifices first personally and professionally. Because the idea that most men have saying, I'm going to get in there and I'm going to change things, by the time you've made it to any point of significance, you've already sold your ass.
Yeah. Wow. And that's pretty obvious in the dealings you've had, huh?
Yeah. Here's the thing. There's some men who are cut out for it, but there's a thing that people have They believe about politics. They believe it about capitalism. I'm going to get in the system and I'm going to change the system from the inside. No, you're not. And I'll tell you why, because capitalism worked for me. Anybody listening to this, I'd like to be clear. Capitalism worked for YusefWateef. At 37 years old, I walked away from America with two university degrees, two businesses under my belt, and no debt. I understand how the game works. But capitalism is one of those things where you can really, I mean, if you're smart enough to do it, you're smart enough to do something else without all the things you're going to have to sacrifice to be a politician.
Yeah, I mean, I think capitalism is beautiful. I mean, it's one thing that's created like the drive in people to figure out how to keep their businesses open and work around these crazy ass mandates where people think that they can just tell people not to go to work. You know, they've gotten creative. They built outdoor patios. You know, they've developed delivery systems and ways to like, you know, that all that's there is because they wanted to make things work because of capitalism to make money. You know, I think that there's a mindset where the greed takes over, but I just can't stand behind us dogging the whole system because it's more like the people, you know, like the greed that overtakes most people. You know, there's that, like you've heard, there's everybody's got a battle inside, you know, good versus evil, and some people just let the evil win. Especially when it gets easy.
And that's the thing. By the time you understand how the system works, you've already mastered it. That's the thing.
Yeah. I mean, I see, you know, some of the other businesses I've had experience in, like, to be really good in your industry, there's some cutthroat shit that's got to be done. It's hard to, like, to do the right thing and create a solid product without cutting corners and be competitive in a, you know, on a global scale or, you know, even local, you know, because there's always somebody that's going to come in and cut some corners and do it for cheaper and get it out there faster just to make the money.
It's a difficult situation. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Are you there?
Yeah. Did you, your Bluetooth go dead or something?
Hold on 1 second. Somebody called and it threw me, and it threw my my earpiece off.
Yeah, no, you sound good. It changed a little bit, but
Hold on 1 second. Sorry about that.
it's all good.
Good. There we go. We should be back on.
Oh yeah, now it's back to it. You back again?
So, yeah.
Okay.
But that's the thing. It's like capitalism. I understand that capitalism is the best of all the worst possible options, but I also understand that because I understand how capitalism works, I have no incentive to change it at all. None.
Yeah.
Capitalism put me in a financially secure situation.
Yeah.
It allowed me to open my businesses. It allows me. So here's the thing. It's like there's a young woman who comes to me for some coaching, and here's the thing. She just started a business, and I'm telling her about how she's going to have to do some outsourcing and hire people in different countries. But she's like, well, that feels so un-American. I feel like, and I said, well, listen, you can either be a have-not and break your budget by hiring Americans with full salaries and full benefits, or you can actually make your business work by coming in under budget by outsourcing to people in every place from Lahore, Pakistan to Mexico. But I understand her feelings. Her sentiments are, this feels dirty. I told her it is dirty. But it feels a lot less, it is dirty.
It is, but to compete, you know, that's
right. And that's the other thing. Here's the thing. It is dirty, however, it feels a lot less dirty when you look at your bank account and realize I'll be okay for the next year. It's a lot less dirty when you can call your mom and say, you need a new sofa?
Yeah.
And that's that's the unfortunate thing about the human animal. I understand that I can choose to be noble and poor Or and to be clear, one of the things you learn in the financial business, I've never broken the law. What did I do? I found ways for people to save their money, pay less in taxes without breaking the law.
Yeah. So what's the import export like between Brazil and America? Are you guys exporting a lot to America up there? Is that something you see with the businesses you work with, or vice versa? You know, like we have a lot of stuff made.
I'm not in the import export business.
No. Okay.
No, I can't. I couldn't even answer that for you.
Gotcha. I was just wondering if there was, you know, like I have a T-shirt business, and most of my T-shirts are made in Honduras. I didn't know what the textile industry was like down in Brazil, and if it was, you know, a viable option to look into sources down.
Well,
there
here's the thing. I got people.
Yeah.
If this is what my expat relocation services business has put me in a lot of situations.
You know some people. Now, when you say expat relocation, you mean like expatriate?
Well, yeah, an expat is a word that's often misused, and I'm intentionally misusing it. If you move from your country to any other, say you come down to Brazil and you say, you know what, I'm going to hang out with you in Brazil for a couple of years or months. You're an expat. You're not an immigrant until you choose to cross over and get legal in a country.
Okay.
Now, here's where it gets classist and racist. If you are from a country above the equator and speaks English, you are always referred to as an expat. The word immigrant is always reserved for people who either A, do not speak English or are from south of the equator.
Says who?
Because the word immigrant, well, says the way the world works. Unfortunately, the word immigrant is always associated with a poor person leaving their country to come to your country that has nothing.
I guess I never even thought about those words before. And I don't think I ever heard expat before. I when you said that before we started talking, I honestly thought you were talking about you were like ex-military.
No.
You didn't have any military.
For example, I run a Facebook group and soon a website called Black Expats in Brazil. So probably by the end of the month, you'll be able to Google Black Expats in Brazil and get the website as well as the Facebook group.
Gotcha. So you're strictly reaching out to blacks in that program.
That niche. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, are there a lot of expats living down there?
A lot. A ton.
Really?
A metric ton. Well, we talk about brain drain. Brain drain is what happens when you have people leaving where they were born or where they were educated to go someplace to give them more opportunity.
Yeah.
So I'll give you an example. Brain drain. Let's talk specifically to Black Americans. The most educated Black Americans, the Black Americans that have the most opportunity for success, haven't been staying in America for quite a while. Can I recommend a documentary to you and to your viewers and listeners called "I Am Not Your Negro" by Baldwin, and it's about. Well, here's where it starts. It starts with him being in France as a writer in France, who was born in America. Because one of the things that most Black Americans realize is that America wasn't ever built for us. It was built by us. It was built by Native Americans. But if you are a Black American, when someone says the word America, they never mean you. So often Black Americans who have the opportunity.
True. That's not true at all.
As a Black, okay, so wait, are we going? Okay, let's open this up then.
Okay.
I'm here to listen to your objection to what I just said.
Okay. I mean, I just don't agree with that. When I say American.
Okay, I'm listening. Can you give me? Because here's the thing. I have a stack of references that I'm going to give you, but I'm waiting to hear you've made the objection, so I'm asking you to give me references to support your claim.
Support that when I say American and when I refer to America, I mean all the people in America. Really, legal or not to some degree, but anybody in America. When I say American, I don't mean black, white, or yellow or anything like that. It has nothing to do with the skin color. It's strictly
let's
a geographical term.
Let's split this open then.
Okay.
When I say America, wasn't built for us. It was built by us and by Native Americans. Do you disagree with that statement?
I mean, it was definitely, you guys were definitely not at the starting line when the race started in 1776. But North America was, inhabited by the natives. And, I don't.
Okay, now I'm going to give you a great example of where we look at. Okay. What year did you just quote to me?
Say that again?
What year did you just quote to me?
1776.
We have clear records that document that slaves from Africa were brought to America after 1500, and the first serious documents in 1619. But the only people who know that are black because it was us who suffered through it. And again, I'm not here to ask you to feel bad for me. I'm not here to tell your listeners that I deserve compassion, but what I am telling you is that when you meet a Black American, you have to understand your America and my America are two different places that occupy the same land. Your America is an America where you may have to actually do something wrong to be apprehended by the police. My America is where being black and driving a nice car has gotten me pulled over many, many times. Your America is a place where if you go out and commit a crime, you're seen as this crazy guy named Dan who committed a crime. When I commit a crime, I am fully a representative of the entire black race. I'm held that way by every journalist, every news outlet, and every private conversation that ever is made public. No other group in the United States has had to go to court to ask and be denied their humanity. Remember, I had to go to court. My ancestors had to go to court and be denied when we simply said, we are human beings, and the court said, no, you're not. No other group of people were brought that way. Remember, there are no black immigrants. Immigrants are people who leave their country and say, I'm going to do a better job in this other country, so I'm going to come over.
Yeah.
There are no Black Americans didn't come here as immigrants. We never wanted to be here. So when I tell you your America and my America are two different countries occupying the same land, it's kind of like when a woman tells you it's dangerous to be a woman, just fucking believe them. When somebody who's led that experience is telling you after having an hour of respectful conversation, I'm not a madman.
Yeah.
If I'm telling you that this is the truth of Black Americans, it's not a comfortable truth. And it's not, and to be clear, I tell Black Americans all the time to never assume that any non-Black person should have any compassion for you or help you, because it's not coming. We are surrounded by people who live with the comfort of the belief of saying it's not that bad for you. That's okay. I grew up in a family that told me from the beginning, white America isn't coming to help you. It hasn't happened in the past. It won't happen in the future. If you don't help yourself and the other people in your community, you'll just die a fool. So I'm not even angry when people tell me they don't believe that Black Americans have it that hard. What do they know? What have they lived? We only know our experience.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't have that experience, so no, I can't. I thought when you said that when I say American, you're like, obviously the experiences are different from everybody that grew up here, and yes, color does have something to do with that. So yeah, I see what you're saying now. I don't know that I don't disagree.
Is that a dog in the background?
Can you hear that? Yeah, hold on one second.
No, it doesn't bother me. I was just asking if you had a dog. Well, I guess I have to keep you guys company while he's gone. I hope he's not chastising his dogs, and I hope the dogs are actually doing their job, maybe telling them somebody's out there.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
Yeah, I got sound muting headphones on, so I couldn't tell how close that was.
Oh, no problem. I mean, here's the thing. If a dog is making noise, my assumption is they're doing it for a reason. I try to find out. I never assume a dog is just being bad. I'm like, maybe there's somebody out there that shouldn't be.
Oh, no, I'm sure it was the cow on the other side of the fence. They like to come over and fuck with my dogs. They just stare at them.
Jeez. Creeping the dogs out.
That's it, man. That's a big animal, If I was a dog. Yeah. So, yeah, we were politely agreeing to disagree, I think. Not really. I'm not really think I'm disagreeing with you. I'm just, when I say America, you know, I try and be as colorblind as possible at all times.
See,
Now,
think about it.
also,
Being colorblind is the privilege of people whose color has never gotten them murdered. I can never be colorblind. I can never not be aware of my status as a black person anywhere at any given time because it is the first thing I'll be judged by.
yeah, you can make that assumption. And I think
No, no, no,
I think
no.
it's a smart
Whoa.
assumption to make a lot of the times.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And here's the thing. Why do you have the brain drain outside of America of black Americans? I'll give you two reasons. The first time I heard this story, I was living in Tokyo, Japan, and it was from Japanese guys. Who it was me and some Japanese guys who spoke English, and they said it was always interesting. They said, "Oh, we love black Americans." I said, "Okay, why?" They said, "You guys work so hard," because the Japanese people literally will work until they die.
Yeah.
And it was something interesting. When we really got down to it, they said that one of the things that they noticed about black Americans is that we didn't come to their country with the assumption of any privileges. We were just another foreigner that was going to have to work hard for the company to make our name. Whereas white Americans came over and didn't quite understand that white privilege only works in white majority countries, and their behavior reflected it.
Wow.
So when you see a black American abroad, remember, he probably represents someone who's not only good at what he does, but better than average because we've had to bleed so much more for it. But that's a socially awkward conversation to have for most people.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking about a black person that came from America.
Yes, I can only speak on behalf of black Americans. I would never assume to speak for other black people.
Yeah. It's interesting. So as I guess this is played in your favor down there, or is it? I mean,
no, it doesn't play in my favor.
What's the racial?
Here's what happens. Here's what happens in Brazil to me as a black American. I'm judged on whether or not I can make people money.
Yeah.
Crazy, right? I'm judged solely on, now don't get me wrong, they love, oh, you're an American, that's so cool. But people with money have never looked at me being an American and thought, oh, that's so cool, I want to give you money. It might turn into, hey, that's cool, you want to come over to the barbecue. It might turn into, hey, that's cool from some girl you meet, but hey, that's cool doesn't turn into money.
Yeah. No, I mean, I feel like capitalism once again is going to be, you know, it's definitely helping drive that, you know, the racial stigma that, you know, you're explaining to have experienced that I haven't experienced. You know, capitalism has got to be helping with that because it is about making money. It doesn't matter what color your skin are. If you can help me make money, then you are of value.
So we're in a situation where in the United States, it's more important to keep the racial lines rigid than it is to make money because racism makes a lot of people money. When you hear people say things like make America great again, and for the record, I'm glad Trump won his presidency. You see, Trump showed people the America that black folks always knew was there, but it forced a lot of white people to say, maybe we need to rethink some things. But I want to be clear about this next statement.
Okay.
When you deal with those things, when you hear somebody say, make America great again, what they mean is they like to be part of an America where they could go for a job interview and their competition didn't consist of other qualified white men. It also now consists of qualified gay people, qualified brown people, qualified people who don't speak English, but they know numbers, so maybe they can compete with you there. Now it's different. They like to go back to a make America great again when there was a time when you could abuse your wife and there was really no concept to it.
I mean,
now,
I think
women have rights and freedoms.
I think that's an assumption as well.
They want to go back to the, well, when was America great? And I'd like for you to be very careful about this answer. This is not a trick question, but I'm asking you, give me a point in the past where America was greater for anyone who does not include white men.
What?
Any point in the past. You didn't even get yesterday. You didn't say yesterday.
I was going to
yesterday
say, like, not long ago at all. Like, I don't know when it wasn't great, to be honest. To make it great again, I mean, some people, at least I like to believe that it's that demographic or the political right and left, you know, where they're like, great again when it wasn't ran by the Democrats.
Okay, so what year were you talking about?
the last time it wasn't ran by Democrats.
Okay, give me an example.
Whenever I don't even know the year it was. Like I don't even.
I think that was Bush too. I think that was the end of George W. Bush II.
Okay.
Because I believe after him it was Bill Clinton.
So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if we say Bush the second.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going somewhere with this. If we say Bush the second and his run was the last time, because he ended his presidency, I believe, in 2009. Because George Bush, I think he won from 2001 to 2009, right? And his vice president was Dick Cheney. So now we're in a situation where, can you give me a time in 2001 to 2009 when the world was better for black people?
Oh, no, I don't have, no, I can't.
Exactly. It wasn't. So when people say make America great again, there is no point in American history where anyone who is not white had a better life.
Well, I think that also was saying like make America great again, where, you know, the internet had came along. And I feel like this is one of our biggest problems, like the social fabric of people is being like we've seen how the internet has affected the music industry. We've seen how it's affected malls. Right now, we're experiencing in real time how the endless supply of information at light speed, whether it's right or wrong, transferring amongst each other is affecting like our social fabric and the way we all operate with each other.
I think that it has had the negative effect of a lot of people getting comfortable talking shit in places where when we were kids, somebody would have took an ass whooping.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I talked a lot of shit when I was a kid, and I was a short, fat kid, so I took those ass whoopings, but it made me a man that understand it's not that I don't talk shit, it's just I understand what's going to happen. One of us is going to go down. Whereas now you get guys comfortable with talking shit online. But here's the thing. I would still never go back. Why? Because right now you have a situation where somebody can build a business and they don't need $1 million to start up. No. Do you know some of the businesses that I run right now that are quite profitable? I can start for $500 US.
Yeah, no, and I agree. I don't
and make a couple $100 every month after that.
But I think that transfer of information and people seeing things like, you know, the transgender movement and people getting like, you know, the cancel culture, you know, the things that were just happening.
Well, what's the transgender
fast.
Movement? What's the transgender movement?
Well, I mean, like when they decided that we needed to make more bathrooms, you know, like there was things that the right side of our political spectrum did not agree with. You know, it's like make America great again, where that stuff isn't happening, where it is Republican run. I just don't think that it's as racially motivated.
Let's go back to. I didn't say it was completely racially motivated. I just said it wasn't in the benefit of heterosexual white men. So let's go back to your transgender movement statement.
Okay.
Okay. To the best of my knowledge, and I have 2 transgender friends, not that it's something I lead with, but the transgender movement wasn't to ask for more bathrooms. It was to ask for bathrooms that were unisex so that anyone could go anywhere and have more bathrooms.
Yeah.
But that's an old wives' tale that they wanted separate bathrooms. It wasn't. They just wanted a bathroom that just said, hey, whoever you are, wash your hands when you're done.
Yeah.
And for the record, I can't think of ever reading about a bunch of transgender people getting together and beating the shit out of somebody who is any other sexual orientation.
Yeah.
Doesn't happen.
True.
But everybody's afraid of a boogeyman that doesn't exist. Why? Because it allows people just give that anger and they're different. And my grandfather didn't have to deal with this nonsense. Well, let me tell you something. I think about my great aunt Vera, who was a lesbian, who was educated, who was black, who couldn't get married to the woman that she wanted to get married because back then, you know, for the record, my grandmother and her sisters saw people lynched. I grew up understanding my grandmother watched people who I am related to die. My grandmother talked to me about you couldn't allow people to understand that you were educated or they would murder you if you were black. This is a reality that was within my lifetime.
Yeah.
So here's where I'm going with that. When you hear about all these things that the left wing wants, when you really parse it down, there are assholes on every side, but you tend to find the people on the left wing just want to be treated like white men were always treated, given the same level of voice that white men always had. The internet gave you that. I'll give you an example. I have businesses that I run online that are purely white faces on it. I have businesses that I run, let me be clear, that nobody knows is run by a black man. I just hire white people and use white models.
Yeah.
America's been making money off my black face for a long time, but the internet allows me to profit from America's greed and racism in a way that other people can't. I'm glad the internet is there. I'm glad that people I know that don't have the social skills to work in an office can actually not starve and still support their families. Let's go back to those people earlier that you said should be dead. I know people that have had bedridden illnesses that run Bitcoin operations from their phone because that's all they can do. But they're still sick and they're still going to die in pain, but they're productive members of society.
Yeah.
To be clear, even if they weren't, they still shouldn't be allowed to die.
I know. I'm a terrible person.
Are you going to get that on your next T-shirt? Are you going to get that on your next T-shirt? Let them die?
No, it's like let the forest burn.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm working through ideas. Like this is just as much me, like, you know, talking about things, and I'm up to change. I'm not set in my ways, and it's interesting hearing your perspective, and I do appreciate it.
I'm glad we could do this.
I think this is good stuff.
I'm glad we could do this.
What's funny is fucking Charlie just tried to ring in. If I would have been able to stick him on three-way, if I would have known how to done that, I might have. When's the last time you talked to Charlie?
We voice message each other.
Yeah, you haven't been able to convince him to come down there, huh?
No, but I'm trying. I'm
shocked that he hasn't, because he does like getting out there.
Let me see. He tried to call you on WhatsApp?
He did. So back to me coming to Brazil, right? And, you know, there's going to be some other Americans coming down, and there's an event going on. What are the chances that said event are like, so supposedly there's an event at a racetrack in the jungle pretty much. And I don't know how much, like they did one in November and it was pretty much, what do you call it? Not spectator friendly. Like they just streamed it live.
What's going on, gentlemen?
Oh my gosh, there he is. What's up, Charlie?
Nothing, man. Just got back to the pad. What you guys up to?
Oh,
we're actually recording right now, and you called him, and he didn't know how to add you to the phone call, so I did.
Yeah,
oh, that's fancy.
Yeah, he did, Charlie. Yeah, we were having a pretty heated argument or a discussion.
No,
I don't know that we were arguing,
lying.
but we were definitely exchanging ideas.
Like my idea, okay, Charlie, my idea was that people who are born sick and might not get well soon shouldn't just be allowed to die because they're sick and can't afford medicine. That was my idea.
Well, I don't know where I stand on that one exactly, because I think even if you can afford medicine, there's no guarantee that you're going to get it anyway. So I think that it's kind of a flawed argument right out the gates. Like you're kind of fucked either way. So I don't think that, you know, we should make a big deal about, I don't know if I have that much faith in humanity to want to save anybody, honestly.
But here's the thing. But so much of what you're talking about
works.
But watch this. So much of what you're talking about comes from the American perspective. The conversation that we were having started with the concept of him, and this is something a lot of Americans don't really get, the concept of affordable quality healthcare in America is a fairy tale, whereas in other countries, the concept of medicine for extraordinary profit is seen as barbaric.
Right.
And people come to Brazil. Exactly.
I've seen the same thing. And, you know, like, I've gone to Mexico for a lot of medical stuff, even when I had insurance, because even if you have insurance here, it doesn't mean that you're going to get a goddamn thing and you're going to spend like half your time just waiting for someone to give you some pills saying that that's going to be the be all and the end all. But I think that we tend to lean on this medical system a little bit too hard as a species. I mean, I think that we're a lot stronger than, you know, needing pills and, you know, like legal dope. What's the difference between legal dope and illegal dope? You know, just because the FDA
one is
says it's
medication,
okay.
one is recreational. There's a big difference. One is recreational, one is for Medicaid. Listen, that's like saying that morphine is bad. No, morphine is bad if you're using it for fun. Morphine is good if you just had, your face broken open and you need to get something to kill the pain.
Well, true. You do have a valid argument there. I guess I'm just kind of disillusioned with it more in the sense of, like I have pretty badass healthcare as far as things go here in America, right? Supposedly, they take a bunch of money from me for it. I'm not supposed to really need anything. And the way it still shakes down is basically if you don't show up at the doctors with your head in your hands, then you're pretty much okay, and you should just drink some water and walk it off and go back to work and quit being such a faggot, I mean, that's kind of the way that the attitude is here in America as far as like men's health. But, it's just kind of weird that you have to try so hard to get this and maintain this message of health insurance because it can totally bankrupt you if you don't have it. If you have anything, they can take everything. If you get one little thing that you can't control, that you're going to need help. So if you ever need help, you're going to be completely beholden to these guys for the rest of your natural life. I don't think that's true either.
And here's the thing: what I could say was only true for Brazil, but outside America, and you've been to a couple of places, and I've lived in like 15 countries. The reality is, in most places, the average working class person can afford very good health care.
And it's not a big fucking deal. You can go and just say, hey, this is what's wrong with me. They're like, okay, well, here you go. Here's what I can do for you, or else I can't do anything for you. But either way, it's not like a major life suck, you don't have to go in and just destroys your entire month.
I think that one thing that would help in America is if we treated health insurance more like we had car insurance, where you don't call you don't call the car insurance every time you need tires or you need to get an oil change or your air conditioning quits working. There's shops that compete to provide those services at a reasonable rate. But the way that healthcare is, where you just go in and, blankly say, hey, charge it to my insurance. I've got a fucking headache and I need some medicine. They've been able to artificially inflate those prices because.
Absolutely. Well, and also the FDA is in bed and there's so much lobbying going on. It's a really dirty business. And I think that everyone should have access to health care, but at the same time, I don't think that they're subsidizing it properly. We subsidize so many things as a country, but still tax. If you can pay, they're going to tax the fuck out of you. If you have the money, if you want to go in and get whatever done, that's fine, but you're going to pay out the ass for it. Yeah, right. Whereas if you don't have any money, you almost have better access to health care in America now than if you do have health care. Because, if you don't have anything, you're not worried about deductibles. You're not worried about shit. You just saunter through the door and they say oh, this guy. Okay, well, we're going to get the government to pay all this money for this guy. Whereas if I went in there and I needed some kind of a procedure, you got to meet minimum amounts of what you're going to spend. You're going to spend at least 10 G's. And if you don't spend 10 G's in a year, then, it's not going to cover it. So I guess if you're going to go in for a procedure that's going to be $100,000, it's totally worth it because then it's going to knock it down to $10,000 to where you could afford it. But let's say if you didn't have anything, you could saunter in, they'd sort you out, and there wouldn't be any problems. You know what I mean?
Watch this. What you just said is true, but now look at what that does to the fabric of the country. It disincentivizes the working class, regular people who just want to have a job and a family from doing that. Now you got people who are bitter because they realize, why am I doing this when somebody who has less than I do and contributes almost nothing can get better health care than I do?
Yeah, it's like capitalism isn't working there.
Right, at all.
Well, let's not say at all. Capitalism is what allowed me to get free of America.
Well, I'm just saying in that instance,
Right. In that instance, and you can't just be completely absolutist about everything. I mean, capitalism has its virtues, and I think that there's some things that we need to mandate socially to where, we can address some of these issues socially, but I don't think it should be absolutely obligatory. I don't see why it has to be like, okay, we have to be 100% capitalistic or we have to be 100% socialistic. We're either going to be like, I don't know. We should have some sort of protection to where we're not going to get fucked as a people, as opposed to just pandering to different groups that are both trying to exploit us to a certain degree, or just keep us, exploited to a degree to where we can tolerate it. We're just.
You also got to remember, this is how capitalism also takes advantage of people, because it puts you in a situation where you're never quite free enough to get away from the system. Like, capitalism worked for me. I learned how to manipulate the system. I worked with money for a long enough time to understand what was necessary for me to get out. But I also understand that if we can keep you constantly in a little bit of debt, and we can keep you constantly worried about that next healthcare bill, you'll never have time to question your government.
This is true.
Yes, it is. And it's working right now.
Oh, it's working full on, it's engineered, everybody's worried about making their payments and keeping the shit that they can't afford. So why would they worry about anything else that extends outside of the homestead, even though over the macrocosmic scale, it's going to affect everybody equally, if not more severely, just because, most people just kind of put their heads in the sand.
I mean, I think right now with the whole shutdowns, they're really just like gauging to see when are people actually going to start using their guns? When are they going to fight back? Because it doesn't matter if they have guns if we know how far we can push before they actually use them, so that, we don't have to worry about them ever using them. It's like they're just gauging, when are the American
American. You're overestimating the average American. Talking about this whole, how many guns do you have? The average American is not in a physical or mental condition to actually want to go to war with anybody.
Absolutely. I agree.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There are some men that are, but those men represent such a tiny minority that the very first time a guy, like, I've talked to people who come from countries in Africa and in South America where they were like, yeah, when the government tried to take over and take away from our people, I had to pick up my rifle at 14 years old and go out with my, the people in my city against some government forces, and 90% of us didn't come home, and we knew that going out.
Yeah.
Americans aren't going to do that. Americans, as long as we have those three things that make sure that we are docile, we have the best video games, the best pornography, and the best fast food. Those things are going to make sure
those are as long as there's toys in the Happy Meal, then they got us by the balls, dude. They've got us by the balls as long as they can keep putting toys in the Happy Meals.
Oh my! Well, they got to be in cahoots with China then, because that's where all them things come from. Even when I was a kid, it said like China. Well, it said Taiwan for a little while, and we were way younger. But
I forgot that things used to say that. They used to say "made in Taiwan."
Yeah, I was like, "What's Taiwan?" And he was like, "Oh, it's China." Is it? It wasn't. Taiwan's like a different country. But when I was a kid, it was like, "Oh, Taiwan's China." Oh, okay, whatever.
Forgot about that. Well, fellas, this was good. We've done 2 hours right now. And Charlie, what a beautiful surprise this was. Thanks for introducing me to your friend Yusef. Did I say that right? Yusef?
YusefWateef. You can say either way.
YusefWateef. I look forward to sharing a juice with you down there, and I hope that we can do that. Are we going to be able to sit down and have a coffee someplace or a juice when I get to town?
Yeah, we'll be able to sit down and have a coffee. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Well, you had me spooked there for a minute as though that wasn't even a possibility anymore.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, we will talk again whenever you guys are ready. I'm looking forward to you guys both coming down at some point.
Yeah, Charlie, you got to go down. I'll go down there and do some reconnaissance and get back to you.
I'll have my people get with your people. They'll do lunch.
I will.
People. All right, guys. Talk to you later.
See ya.
All right, sweet dudes.
Beautiful, 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 Yusef. Thanks for talking with me. Charlie, thanks for jumping in on that one. It's always good to have friendly debate and learn some things, hear some ideas from different perspectives, widen your range of ideas. I hope you enjoyed that podcast. I know I did, and I look forward to sitting down with Yusef and sharing some juice back when Sao Paulo gets to popping again. Kind of bummed that I'm not going to be in Brazil for Carnival. The parade sounds amazing. I mean, I'm going to be at some point. It's just not happening next month. All right, I said I'd give away some shit, and I'm going to. Go to DangerDanceTalkShop.com. Patreon link is in the menu. Sign up to win some badass shit, dude. What do you guys think about doing a Danger Dan t-shirt? You guys interested in a Danger Dan t-shirt? No? Maybe? I can't hear you. I really can't. I just can't hear you. So we're going to give away some dice from Born Lost. Maybe I'll throw in the valve stem covers. He's doing some rad shit at Born Lost. You can get some custom-made dice for yourself, or you could pick up some safety third dice with my ugly mug on it. And then MC Shop Tees. I got some leftover tees that I'm going to hook some people up with. MCShopTees.com, your T-shirt of the month club. The only way to support every local motorcycle shop. All right, 85. 85. Come on, dude. Biltwell's People Champ contender Eric Allard of FNA Customs just won some MC Shop Tees and some fucking dice. You know what's awesome? Eric Allard, he just won some MC Shop Tees. He is one of our featured shops. I don't have any of his shirts, but we did him like 2 years ago, man. Fuck, I just fucking brain bomb. Fucking badass clothing company that helps us do the Boogie East, did the artwork. Fuck. Oh, man. V&M. There we go. Horse Bites. He did a rad fucking gator with this dude riding into the sunset, man. You need to get signed up at MC Shop Tees so that you can have these shirts. I mean, they're one-off. I'm not printing that shirt again. It's a one-time deal. Eric, thanks for supporting the show. Your contributions have gotten me down the road many miles, dude. And I can't thank you enough. Don Shapiro, thanks for reaching out and making some rad dice. That's fucking cool. My wife started crying when she saw my face on some dice. I didn't think that was cry-worthy, but fuck, she thought it was. So, thank you to lowbrowcustoms.com, heavy.bigcartel.com. Why is that so difficult for me to fucking say that website? Kill it every time. And I look forward to giving away more badass shit, dude. I'm going to fucking call Scott today, and I'm going to get him to paint us some fucking crazy tank, dude. That's what's happening. We are fucking doing that. So go sign up at Patreon. Don't fuck up. Get the $5 deal. It's $5. That's like buying me a cup of coffee once a month. Trust me, I drink more than 1 cup of coffee a month, and I burn a lot of fucking miles, dude. At least I try to. I got the motor being built in New Orleans right now. Dude, I'm not even fucking telling you who's doing that, dude. I don't need my boys to be all backed up with y'all's bullshit-ass fucking chopper builds. But I'm stoked. I welded the frame up a couple times. I got some wild trips this year. I'm not even fucking tell you about them. I'm just going to show you. Hope you're following me at Danger Danimal. On the gram, you can email me, Dan at Danger Dan's Talk Shop. None of that weird fucking shit. But, I read them. I may not I don't have one of those segments on the show where I read listeners' questions or give you fucking advice. I mean, I could do that, but don't hold your breath. Have a wonderful fucking day. Here's some more Extermination Day.